Movement in 20th century America held fast through hard and difficult years to its vision of the truth. Not so much a victory for any one man or party as it was a victory for a set of principles. Principles that were protected and nourished by a few unselfish Americans through many grim and heartbreaking defeats.
That was former President Ronald Reagan in 1981. For decades, the Conservative Political Action Conference, or CPAC, was the hottest ticket in town. Any Republican hoping to make a national name would have been falling over themselves for an invite to speak at the event. But this year, some marquee names are opting out, like former Vice President Mike Pence and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Instead, DeSantis, the biggest threat so far to Donald Trump's 2024 return to the Oval Office, will be headlining a dueling event in Palm Beach, Florida. Now, there will still be some names to appease the MAGA red meat base at CPAC, though. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz already spoke, and it'll culminate with President Trump's or former President Trump's address later today. But remember what we just heard from Ronald Reagan? Here's just a taste of what the Conservative Party now stands for today.
We had to spend 4 or 5 days asking the Chinese spy balloon what its pronouns were before we were willing to shoot it down.
I will look at a camera and directly tell Zelensky, you better leave your hands off of our sons and daughters because they're not dying over there.
Joining us now is my Saturday morning Power Political panel, Lucy Caldwell, political strategist and former campaign manager for Joe Walsh's 2020 presidential run, and former Republican Carlos Curbelo, who is also an MSNBC political analyst. Thank you both for being here on set this morning. It's a pleasure to have you. Lucy, thanks for being here for the first time, and Carlos, you're always a welcome face. Carlos, I want to start with you. Considering how poorly MAGA-backed, Trump-backed candidates did in the primaries, is CPAC even relevant anymore? It just seems to me to be just a MAGA echo chamber with really bad baked goods.
Well, Katie, I was at CPAC in 2014 and I actually spoke there, and it was still relevant, but already kind of declining in relevance today as the principal place of worship for the cult of Trump. It is really becoming irrelevant because, as you said, there isn't a market for these ideas in general elections. Republican primary is different. We'll see how that all plays out the next couple years. But all these candidates who go to CPAC and spew all this venom, they are getting punished in general elections. I thought the only bright light at CPAC, and I'm biased as a Miamian, was Miami Mayor Francis Suarez, who was actually there yesterday and spoke about policy. He was the only guy who kind of
to say who he was going to back, though, which I think is very telling about
That's
Francis
right, but
Suarez.
he's the only guy who actually sounded like that Ronald Reagan clip you just played.
Ooh, well, we're far off that now.
Very
Lucy,
far.
I got to ask you, there was a really awkward moment that we saw where Nikki Haley was booed, and very loudly, after she spoke to the audience at CPAC. Listen, she's accused of being a rhino, a Republican in name only, by people that are at CPAC. Does she really have a chance to gain the loyalist vote, do you think?
No, absolutely not. I think, unfortunately, Nikki Haley is a Republican of a different era and of a bygone era. I think that one of the things that we see, and this is just the reality of career politicians, is that a lot of these Republicans who are now trying to find relevance in this party see things like a foray into a presidential election cycle, a foray into a CPAC, a foray back onto the main stage as a ticket for attention again. It is very hard for Nikki Haley, in the old version of Nikki Haley that we knew, to survive in this Republican primary, to even make any kind of showing in this cycle. The polling tells us that. So I think Nikki Haley is trying to put her hand up and say, hey, I'd still like to be part of this conversation. I want to be in this dialogue. I will show up to Crazy Town CPAC. But whether or not she gains a hearing and then a following from, as you say, those loyalists, no.
I mean, Carlos, to Lucy's point, I call CPAC cuckoo people and crazies. So, but Lucy just said there's an old version of Nikki Haley and a new version. What does it say about the fact that any version of Nikki Haley thinks it's safe space to go and even show up at CPAC and run against somebody like Donald Trump?
Well, I think some candidates like Nikki Haley feel like they probably have to show up anywhere, right? Because if they're going to have a chance, they have to take risk. And certainly there's risk in showing up at CPAC because you can get booed, which ended up happening to her. I do see a potential lane for candidates like Nikki Haley. We know Ron DeSantis is going to get into this race. that is going to be a very nasty confrontation between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. Maybe someone can emerge out of all that mess and all those ashes. And I think that's kind of the play that Nikki Haley and others are making right now.
You know, Lucy, to that point, there's some leak of Trump's 5-point plan, not to better America in any way, but to go after Ron DeSantis. Is it smart to do this 5-point destruction plan of Ron DeSantis before Ron DeSantis has even announced that he's running?
Well, taking that a couple of ways. First of all, Trump does still have a pretty sizable lead over Ron DeSantis in the latest round of polling, anywhere from 8 to 30 points ahead of DeSantis. So make no mistake, this is Trump's Republican primary race to win and to be had if he wants to. In terms of the 5-point plan, I mean, we were talking at the top of the segment about the way in which there's no policy anymore. And even in the 5-point plan, you have everything from Ron DeSantis is a Paul Ryan lackey. Ron DeSantis is not sufficiently loyal to me. Ron DeSantis shut down Florida beaches during COVID. That would be big government. But then also Ron DeSantis, wanted to cut Social Security and Medicare to make it more financially solvent, which would be limited government, right, or fiscally responsible. So it just goes to show that there is no policy core to this Republican Party. I think that it's not. So you are a Florida guy, so you know better than I, but I don't feel so certain that Ron DeSantis is going to get in this race. I think that he's really enjoying the limelight.
She's entering into the fray, the Fernando Monte Carlos fray, but keep on quickly.
He's enjoying the Florida limelight. He's got to worry about that pesky Florida resign to run law, which still hasn't been changed. So I think in a way he might look and say, I can continue to enjoy this attention of being the Ron DeSantis, Florida governor, culture warrior to the stars, and wait it out a couple of years and get in 2028.
Yeah. Ron DeSantis is wearing those lifts right now. He's running. I just really want to get to this with you, Carlos, and I'm going to end with you because I don't have a lot of time. In an interesting eating of their own moment, Steve Bannon at CPAC had this to say about Fox News. Take a really quick listen.
Remember, Murdoch, you've deemed Trump's not going to be president. Well, we've deemed that you're not going to have a network because we're going to fight you every step of the way. If your task and purpose is to take your country back, this country will be saved.
3 shirt, 3 pen Steve Bannon right there saying that they're going to take down Fox News. Look, Fox News has always been the right-wing propaganda arm for Donald Trump and for MAGA Republicans and the far right. What does this tell you, Carlos, about the fact that you now had Steve Bannon at CPAC of all places calling for the demise of Fox News? Is this actually feasible, you think?
Well, this is all about money and self-interest, like everything with Donald Trump and people around him. That's what it's all about. Steve Bannon has his own show that he takes guests on and has a growing audience, and they want to take share away from Fox News. So obviously they know, and it's pretty clear that Rupert Murdoch is done with Donald Trump, at least for now, and they're trying to take advantage of that situation and gain more viewers and take market share from Fox. It's all about money. Donald Trump, his aspirations for the presidency, the people around him are all in it for themselves.
Lucy, quickly before we have to go, on this point, though, do you really think that Fox News viewers hearing something like this from somebody like Steve Bannon, because I feel like they don't know about the money part of it, right? I feel like they're such cultists that they're watching the Fox News because they want to get their addiction kind of satisfied. Do you think something like Steve Bannon saying this about Fox News could actually contribute to the demise of Fox News?
Well, it depends. I mean, if people have decided to be Fox News viewers, then they're not seeing those comments from Steve Bannon at CPAC because Fox Nation is not covering CPAC. Steve Bannon can say all day, like, Fox News is going to make you more stupid. But we're seeing a fracturing of right-wing media. We're seeing silos. Those Steve Bannon loyalists, they have already made their way over to Newsmax. They have already made their way over to OAN and whatever the next fringe of the fringe right-wing network is. So, no, I don't think it's going to impact Fox News viewers, but we've certainly learned this week that they're all hypocrites.
At a minimum. Okay, so Carlos, she's now in the fray for the Ron DeSantis run. I'm going to thank both of you, but Lucy, you've now entered into the fray. We have this whole thing going with Fran Monty about Ron DeSantis. if he's doing it or not. So we now know where you are on this.
We got to make some kind of bet. I'm having a Cuban coffee with Fernando.
We're going to up the ante
Ron
now.
DeSantis is in. He's got at least as big an ego as Donald Trump. He's all in.
He's wearing those lifts. My thanks to the Saturday Morning Power political panel, Lucy Caldwell and former Congressman Carlos Curbelo. Thank you so much.